Here. I have tea, I have water. Hey, Bucks of Paint, hi! Hi, Lana! No tea for me, just Coke as I'm still in the car. Waiting for Mom to do her shopping. Ooh! Hey, Amy, hi! Hello! I really need to figure out a way to stop the camera from autofocusing so much. I hope you can hear me. Moment will be forever. Thankfully, I'm not the one driving today. First, see, I found watercolor birds. Yeah, I've never really. We do London Clear. Awesome. Yeah, I was sorting out my papers that I like to use as backdrops, and I saw that I had this big crescent board, watercolor board, hot press. It's cotton, I think. It's really, really thick. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but you have like some really thick cardboard, and then you have a sheet of watercolor paper, like glued on top. And yeah, I'm curious to see it for the non-buckling action, but also it's quite an old board, and it was a bit dingy. But I was like, you know what? Who cares if it's dingy? I'm just gonna test it out, you know. I don't even remember where I got this from, or if this was part of something else that I inherited or whatever, but yeah, it's big. It's thick. I got my fair share of shopping today at Michael's. Ooh, did you find any good stuff? And ordered 2 Bao sketchbook to try out. Ooh, it's nice. So I printed a reference, and I split it in thirds just so it's easy for me to reference, and my board is also split in thirds. I have no idea where I'm gonna go with this, but I just want to try this surface, and I'm probably gonna do a black and white ink painting because I'm not done with that phase yet. I'm also trying to use up all the little bits of color erase pencils that we have. So the story behind these is that both Mr. E and me, we went to a school for, you know, cartoon animation. And the main pencils you use in animation were, I don't know exactly where it's now. But way back then, it was color erase. These, you know, colored pencils that you can somewhat erase. Not very well, but you can erase them just enough, you know. And we would go through the light blue and the carmine one a lot. So I kept all the little bits of pencils that we had because I don't know. I was like, you know, these aren't kind of expensive, and I just kept them. And yeah, and I was like, you know what? I should probably try to use these up as much as possible, and then, you know, I'm rambling, but yeah, basically. Drop the photo in Discord. Oh, I'll have to check that out later. A couple of pins from DS, Winsor Newton, and Delirani too. Ooh, brushes. Micron and sepia and white pen. Oh, that's good. Jill! Hey! I'd be interested to see what you think of the board. I have some, but I hate that they work badly with the way I use water. Do you have like the same as this one? Like this one is really, really thick. I have everything around me except a ruler. Do I have a ruler in here? Oh, I have a ruler in here. It's 1/8 of an inch. So 3 millimeters. Never tried color pencil for sketching. I think the other Lana suggested that to you the pink Derwent Inktense to sketch with. Mine are a bit thinner. I think they're by Canson. Mine is from Crescent. It's a Crescent watercolor board. Hot press. Like really thick layers of cardboard and then a sheet of watercolor paper. No, I haven't tried them for sketching yet, more for accents. Plus, I don't have pink in that set. Plan to order one Lena advice. Good! The ones I didn't get along with became the front and back of Inktober sketchbooks. Yeah, that's perfect. My initial proportions are really awful. It's okay. So what have you guys been up to this week? I hope you guys had a good week. I love the idea of using the ones I don't like as spoon. Yeah, that's a really good idea. More or less, a lot of painting and working. Waiting to get home already to try out some ideas I got and new stuff. That's really awesome. You seem to be really into it. Which I find particularly refreshing. I can't say I know what I'm doing, but it's okay. Hey, Lena! Hey, Jawad! Hi! Oh, it's nice to see you. Hey, Susie! Hello! I cover the foam boards with self-adhesive white shelf paper. Then I staple my paper on and use tape over the staples. That sounds really sturdy. Central Europe and 30 I've sold my first ever commission. Oh, wow. Awesome. Yes, my watercolor paper stays pretty flat. Yeah. So far, I think this looks like absolute butt. So, yeah. If you get the same vibe from it, well, that's the right vibe. It's just not... I think I'm sort of not getting into it, like, broad enough to begin with. Like, I don't know where to throw my brain, and it kind of stays stuck on details, and details are really not important at this stage. So this is big. I'm kind of I'm used to working on like tiny thumbnails, and then the sketchbooks are about like this size. You can kind of get away with more nonsense and less details that way. Hey Barbie, hi, hello. Okay, my sister gave me a canvas. A canvas? Ooh, interesting. Tell me, oh, I know nothing about canvases for watercolor. It's hard to talk, read, and draw. Yeah, it is. It's not the easiest, but it's fun. And like, to make things really easy on me, I didn't go with something that really comfort zone-esque. I'm going for something that's like a challenge on a good day without a live stream. You have more place for awesomeness on the board. Yeah, but it's a different switch in the brain, you know? Is it a huge pot of tea? It's a huge mug. It's my big mug. I think it's 23 ounces. So about 2.5 cup ish. Sorry. A bucket full of tea. That's the only way to enjoy tea. By the bucketful. Sorry. Oh, I need the huge mugs. What are you supposed to do with the tiny mugs? Unless you're having an espresso. It's like 400 ml. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's a good one. That's good. Hey, Gwendolyn, hi. I know there is watercolor ground medium that makes a watercolor work on canvas, but I've never used it. I have used it a bit, mostly for swatches and all that. It's a very different feel than paper. You can paint with watercolor on it, but it's weird. Oh no, I just got an espresso. What? That sounds good. Is it not good? Oh, it's because it's tiny. Yeah, but it's a tiny, super intense coffee. That's why you need the tiny cups. But you don't drink tea in tiny cups. That's silly. Me too. Got cute cup with cat switch. Says I need coffee right now. Tea should be measured in liters. Oh yes. You should have 3 taps. Hot water, cold water, tea. Hot tea. Watercolor grounds is good stuff, but it's not like paper. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I just made some clove tea. Oh, that's gotta smell so good. Oh, that sounds like it smells delicious. And it takes a long time to dry before you can paint on it. Depends on the thickness. But yeah, it's not instantaneous. I used a lot of the black watercolor ground for swatches, and I would really like paint it kind of thinly, and it didn't take too long to dry, but I love huge cups for tea. 300 ml more is the best. Yeah, I mean, anything below 300 ml is what you're gonna drink your tea in, like, you're gonna drink 2 gulps of tea, and then it's gonna get super cold because there's not enough tea to keep the rest of it warm. So you're gonna just be miserable with the bottom dredge of a mug of cold tea. Some US kitchens have a 3rd super hot tap. You add the tea to the cup. Oh, that sounds handy. But I would love a... I think it would be gross and hard to like maintain. But a straight up hot tea tap. You know you drink a lot of tea when you get to that point. And as someone who is never prepared, that's a long time to wait when I've got a creative spark. Yeah. I haven't used it for anything creative. I've only used it for swatches. So I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna try to not be so stiff in my reference. Oh yeah, and be careful to not dip your brush into the wrong cup, always. I love all tea and drink iced tea all the time. My kids never drank pop, only tea. Still do. That's good. That's good. Tea. Iced tea. With my anemia shenanigans. Oh yeah, that's true. How is that going? When the doctor said I need to cut down. Oh no. Oh really? Herbal tea? I mean, what kind of... You have to be a bit more specific than that, doctor, because a lot of herbal teas, I don't see where they would get the tannins. Especially if you put it together yourself. Like if you have a big mug and you put some ginger root and cinnamon sticks in there. Does that have tannins in it? Big mug club. I love that. On home improvement shows, I've seen oven taps so people can fill pots. Whoa. I'm not sure if it's genius or pointless. Yeah, you know, that's a good question. Although I would love to own a tiny vintage teacup with a saucer. Well, I mean, if you have an espresso and you like to drink your espresso like with nothing in it, that would fit. That would be lovely. I feel like that's the kind of really fun thing to shop in thrift shops. Have bad blood and go to... Ooh, that sounds rough. Hey, Otto! Hello! I thought they were low tannins as well. Maybe just a CYA... What? Moment, but I was like, no. Oh, I would have been on that... on a Google, like, right that instant to Google, like, what kind of herbal teas don't have any tannins in it, in them, just so I can stock up. Clutches the pearls, no tea. Happy Cat Day, yeah! Wait, hold on, is it like some official cat day thingy? Oh, cover your bum. Oh. Maybe just... Dang. It's official cat day in Japan. Oh my gosh. Happy Cat Day. How would you say that in Japanese, though? Japan has all the good holidays, seriously. Then it's like super Caturday. Yeah, it is. Oh, wow. Also, something a bit difficult from streaming and drawing is that you don't really see your sheet at the right angle to catch on the wonky bits. We need to celebrate that. How do we celebrate? By petting the nearest cat to you. I have a Scout is the nearest cat. She's all nestled in her blanket. Pet the nearest one to your house. Oh my gosh. I think it's International Cat Day soon. Oh. Tell them how majestic and amazing they are. Okay, I'll go hunting the neighbor's cat. Happy Cat Day. I'll give my cat some treats to celebrate. Yeah, I can pet Scout or Pico for you guys if you don't have access to a cat. There's a black one, very angry, and a white one. Aww. I like the celebration of this holiday. My cats approve of this also. I mean, especially if they get treats, right? Please pet Pico multiple times for me. I will after the stream, if that's okay. She is in the kitchen, I think. I'm really struggling with this. Let's change speed just for a second. Gonna try a couple of thumbnails first. Yes, please, Pico and Scout need pets today. They always get so many scouts. Pets. Tell Pico and Scout they're majestic from me. It's good. Thanks. Vous êtes majestueuse. How about that? They're sleeping very soundly. Oh. There is an International Pet Day too in April where we can celebrate cats too. Ooh, that's like 3 days. I mean, they kind of get celebrated every Caturday because Caturday. Hey, you're welcome. Both cats are, little donuts at the moment. With paws somewhere in there and tails. But Scout has a blanket over her, so she's just a big dumpling. I'm finding it really interesting seeing how you approach a composition you're not liking. Like that you've switched scale and materials to try something different. Good ideas. Hey! Yep! That's a thing that always works, I feel like. It's always easier to work smaller, I feel like, because you're not drawn to putting in all the details. Like you kind of have to omit all the details because you're working so small. So it doesn't really help that I don't know if you guys are familiar with what aphantasia is, but I have some sort of variant of it, or I have it, and I don't really see the images in my head. I kind of have to put them on paper to see them. And like if I start with something on paper, then I can use that to adjust and build an image I like. But as a result also of that, when I see a reference picture like this one, and I only have this photo, I don't necessarily understand the geography or the geometry of what I'm watching, what I'm looking at. Like there's a bunch of things in there that I have no idea how they work together. And that doesn't help. So by going back to thumbnails and whatnot, I might be able to bring it to a point where the stuff that I draw, at least I understand, even if it means flushing some details or elements of the reference. But if I have the reference only, and then what I'm trying to do, I'm going to try to stick to the reference too much, but not necessarily understand it. Does that make sense? Merci beaucoup. Bien de rien. Thumbs are great. I wish I remembered to do them always. Yeah, I kind of always start with the thumbnail because of what I just said. Like I find it really difficult to just get straight to the drawing, and when I do that, I tend to do always the same thing. So it's been tested and true. There's a walking cat tour that's been going on the last few years where I live. It's cute. Oh, have you taken it? That sounds really cute and fun. I'm the same way. It makes perfect sense to me. Oh, awesome. I'm glad. Now picture this is one of my mini kryptonites. Ah, dude. How about not? Can I doodle it? Can I try? I kind of hate it too because it's part of the language. Like sometimes I find myself saying like imagine whatever, or try to visualize whatever, and I kind of catch myself in my own, I trip in my own words because I'm like, that's not the best way to put it, because if I was told to do that, I couldn't do it, you know. It's also a thing that I've been meaning to work on, and I find it very difficult, is that when I work from a reference, to try to identify what are my favorite parts of the reference, like what feels the most important to me in this jumble of shapes. Instead of darting around from one little detail to the next, if I can figure out what I really like, let's say for this one, things that I thought were particularly striking were the tiled roofs and the angled, and then I really like this kind of doorway thingy. But yeah, there are details that I didn't really pick up on at all because they didn't strike me as what I find the most interesting. I also like that there's a sort of really interesting silhouette elements in the darker areas of the reference. And it's kind of really sparse, but you have like little windows here and there. This is hard. I'm very grateful that developers like to draw pictures of systems. Imagine the scenario is fine. Imagine that the couch is over here and there's a wall there and I'm like, yeah. It requires a lot of brain power, right? If someone tells you, imagine put the couch in the other place, like, can we just try it? Can we just put it there? Can I draw it? Can I take a photo and draw on top? Hey, Paulo! Don't overthink it and just let it flow out of your hands and get out of your head. Oh, thank you so much. But that's the thing. There's sort of nothing really in my head. If I just try to be spontaneous, that doesn't really pan out. So I kind of have to absorb the reference and then release it again, but it's going to be different, hopefully. I feel like the sort of main shape is the main tower element, so it's kind of a big, narrow rectangle. Then you have the hat on top of it. And then you get this extra bit here, sort of tacks onto. And this element here with the door. It's also interesting to try and keep in mind like where the horizontal and the vertical lines are, but also where they intersect with diagonals. Because that's kind of the rhythm in the picture, if that makes sense. I mostly cannot picture things in my head, but one of my favorite art teachers says, see who falls out of your pencil today. And that approach works well for me. Oh, that's fun. Hey, Melissa. I really like that idea of who falls out of your pencil today. I feel like for me, in my personal case, it's what will happen once I get started. because sometimes when I do a drawing, like one of the cat drawings, I'm gonna start by just doodling a cat. And the most basic boring cat silhouette, just standing there. And I'm like, okay. And once I have that on my paper, I can be like, okay, so the cat is gonna be like suspicious. What is it suspicious of? And I kind of start from there and I build it up around it. Without necessarily having a plan, you know. It's a good way of approaching it. I usually just start with a circle. Yeah. Circle, cat, same difference. Draw an ear. Oh, that looks like a nose. And suddenly a few hours have passed and a creature is born. It's like you're like a very mellow Dr. Frankenstein. I really love drawing in flashback. Oh, in Flash. Back in the day, because you just stack basic shapes and magic. Oh my gosh. that brought up all sorts of weird memories. Flash. I love and not really hate, but a very mixed relationship with that software. sketch is looking great, but oh my gosh, you're way too nice. It's just a scary scribble. At uni, I had 2D animation in Flash and 3D in Studio Max. I preferred Flash by leaps and bounds because it was straightforwardish and no. Yep. Perfect summary. I agree. Hey, Lyra, hi. But yeah, oh my gosh, a gajillion years ago, I studied like 2D animation. And eventually they had us follow a 3D animation course just to, at least be familiar with it a bit. And I find it very technical in a way that was not exactly for me. I feel like sometimes it's a bit too much focusing on exactly the minutiae of the small details. But it's really easy to lose your goal in that and to end up with something that has zero character. Does that make sense? There's a cool castle near where I live. Ooh! A neo-Gothic residence. Ko-woohoof. Wow! I don't know how you get to that from that, but okay. It has the prettiest park and the most... Oh, okay, hold on. I'll have to check that out. I need to leave for a quick walkie with Dante. Oh, have a good walkie, guys. I did a substantial amount of work in Flash, both as kind of a professional and also yeah, mostly as a professional actually, but like we used it to ink out drawings for productions. And the sort of the vector tools in there are really, really easy to use and really efficient, or at least they were back then. I don't know what it's like now. I haven't touched it in years. But it was really, really easy to use. You only had to be careful of its few known issues. And if you could keep in mind to be careful about that, it was really, really easy to use, and I kind of loved it. You kind of had the room to MacGyver what you need together to really fit with sort of what you want to do. Does that make sense? Like you could patch it up everywhere, but the final result would not show the patches. I only ever enjoyed Flash as a viewer, but as an internet history enthusiast, I shall be forever angry about the death of Flash. Oh my gosh. It was a tool, and as such, you could use it for both good and evil. That's how I would sum it up. Oh my gosh. So many cool sites, games, and features gone. Thanks, Adobe is sucking like. Oh, dude. We've had me and Mr. E, or Mr. E and me, we've had a good rant session about Adobe recently, especially Photoshop. There was a time when Flash didn't belong to Adobe. It was Macromedia Flash. Remember when I think in 2020 there was a rumor that Adobe's gonna buy Blender? That would be devastating, I think. Yeah. Although I think Blender is open source. Hold on, give me a sec, guys. Sorry about that. I hoped Procreate Dreams would be as simple and straightforward as Procreate, and it's horrible. What is it? I think I might be able to return to the watercolor board and do a bit better this time. Oh, it's their animation app, and it's so confusing. Ugh. Hey, Fairy Cloud, hello! You can have no tutorials on Procreate and figure out a lot of things. You need a degree to use Dream. That sounds nightmarish. It's on the iPad. You don't really need that much stuff to do animation. I don't know why they make it so complicated with software, but I mean, I haven't tried Dream, so I can't say. It's on iPad. Yeah, I don't have any. I don't have any like tablet like that. The only tablet I have is one that you use with a computer. Sounds like a difference between Photoshop and Illustrator. Ugh. I worked out Photoshop in middle school. I still get lost in Illustrator. Oh. Another one of those softwares that have really weird memories attached to. Stupid Illustrator. I just thought it would be fun to play with, and it's just frustrating. Oh, that sucks. But yeah, Photoshop, I mean, it's kind of the issue with Photoshop is that it's so sort of easy to get used to it that when you get fed up with Adobe and you want to try something different, it's very difficult to get the hang of anything new that is not exactly like Photoshop. Hey, Galgos, hi. Not what I want to do. I have got a repaper tablet. Ooh, how do you like that? Affinity is cool. Affinity design is so much less confusing than Illustrator. That's funny you say that. When I decided to stop using Adobe products just because they're so freaking expensive. Like, it's an issue because familiar enough with especially Photoshop to be really efficient in it, but not enough to justify the price point and the fact that it's full of bugs and whatever. So some time ago I bought the full Affinity suite when it was still version 1, so it's a bit old, but I use a lot of Affinity Photo and Publisher. I haven't tried Design yet. They're sort of vector based illustration software, but the other two are really cool. I like Publisher. Like, I've made a lot of things in Publisher, and it's really easy to maneuver, and especially like if you have any kind of question in Publisher, you can find tutorials that will help you figure out stuff. And I realized recently, it took me that long, but with the photo one, you can draw in it too. Which you're gonna say, well, duh, but I don't know why. It didn't occur to me to look for like textured brushes, and they have them, like chalk brushes like you have in Photoshop, and airbrush and all that. What pencil holder? It's my favorite pencil holder because it's comfy. It's from Staedtler. I don't know if you'll be able to see. It's super shiny. But I've tried, you know, the other types of pencil holder, the really affordable ones with the little metal ring that you slide to hold on to the pencil, but they really hurt your fingers after a while. And this one is really comfy. You just like unscrew this grip And you can put your pencils in it. They're a bit like the Derwent ones that are quite affordable too, but the Derwent ones, they're made for the Derwent pencils, and the Derwent pencils are just a bit more girthy than regular pencils, so they don't really hold on that well to them. Like, it works in a pinch, but yeah, at some point I saw this one and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try, and I really like it. It is comfy. Like, you don't feel like you're using a pencil extender, which is sort of the whole point, I guess. Funny, the system is to draw on paper and have a line work on your iPhone or iPad to continue. Oh, that's really cool. Does it feel like drawing on paper, really? Illustrator gets easier the more you use it, but you only really need it. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to... There was a particular... Is it from Adobe? I think so, but I don't remember what's the name of it. But it's one that's a bit of a hybrid between a drawing software and vector software, and that you can draw really more organically, but it's going to be vector shapes. I don't remember. I think its name starts with an F. Anyway, but yeah, that's the other thing that always pissed me off about Photoshop, is that the Adobe is sort of really adamant that Photoshop is a photo editing software. And they kind of neglect a bit the fact that a lot of people use it for drawing. So all the improvements for the drawing aspect of it took a really long time to happen. Like being able to rotate your workspace and all that took forever. And every time they would update and introduce more features, it would be stuff to help you edit your photos. And you're like, yeah, sure. I know, it's Photoshop. Okay, cool. But you gotta face the reality that so many people use your software for drawing. I used Affinity Design when I was working in government office, and they bought it for us, and I needed the vector software, and it's very nice. Now at work we have Adobe subscription, and I use those now. At home I have a whole Affinity suite, but I also have an I mean, if you can still use it, go ahead. The issue with it is that sometimes it's more hassle to try and keep those working than it is to just drop it and figure something else, you know. Yes, and you have both your design on paper and on your app. Ooh, I like it for getting my line work on any paper. Oh, that sounds really cool. I'll, hold on, what did you call it? The repapered tablet from Faber-Castell, right? keep going back and forth and back and forth about like an iPad. I would personally for me, I would go for an iPad just because it would be easier to get everything to work together, as I have a Mac computer and an iPhone. I know it's crazy expensive, but yeah, but at the same time, I've never really used one. I wish you could like rent one for like a month just to see how you like it. I think one of my issues with it is that I don't really like drawing digitally, but I feel like with the iPad it perhaps feels a bit more like drawing on a board or a paper, because you can kind of move it a bit more. I don't know if that makes sense. And the other little issue I have with it, it's nothing big, but my favorite drawing software is unfortunately not available for Mac, which sucks. It's Paint Tool Sci, and you can only have it for Windows. I'm just so annoyed by that. Hey, Yumi Gucci, hi. Hello, hello. I have a Galaxy. I get that iPad has better processor, but I hate Apple and iOS with a passion. I know you're pain with Paint Tool Sci though. I loved using the first one, my favorite. Yeah, it's so good. I was able to use it on a little laptop that was basically just like not a drawing laptop, but it supported having my Wacom tablet plugged in it at that time, and it tolerated Psi, so I was able to draw anyway. It's so simple, it's so easy to use, and it works well. I really miss it. To bring back a good old classic, what was something particularly delicious that you ate this week? Salted cod risotto, wow. Did you make that yourself, Paolo? Yes, I did. Ooh, fancy. And Adobe should just merge Illustrator and InDesign. Are they really that similar? I was under the impression that InDesign is for document layout and page layout and like putting together books and stuff, while Illustrator is really more to work with vector and type and logos and all that. What color separating paints does everyone recommend? There are so many granulating sets available, but I want the color separating type. Do you have some example of colors that do that in mind? Like, hey, Colorsmith, hi! Hello, hello! I have bought the 24 paint set from Holbein. The granulating ones? Oh, dude. Yeah, they look really interesting. An example, the base is blue, but pinks and purples separate out, or orange. They really sparked my interest, and when they became available in Europe, yeah, I understand what you mean, Melissa, but can you sort of name a color by a brand that does that? Because from what I'm not sure if you're looking for granulating colors that separate, or colors that separate but don't granulate. I mixed my own version of Misty Morning and I love it. Ooh. It's such a pretty color. Granulating colors that separate. There's so many factors to consider. If you want sort of very saturated and vibrant colors, then you shouldn't go look at Schmincke's super granulating colors, because they've kept everything very light fast, so the colors are more muted. And if you want something that's a bit more vibrant, a bit more saturated, chances are that there might be some neon dyes in there that will make the paints not light fast. So that's basically the next sort of branching out. Do you have my final question? Is I want to send you a book. Oh, well, I don't really have a PO box anymore, and I won't give my personal address in the live stream. You can perhaps message me on Instagram to see what it's about. PG50, PV19, yeah. I've mentioned my friend Elodie a couple of times, and she does something really interesting with colors like Misty Morning. Is she will take out Misty Morning and then the paints that make the mix. So she will have PG50, Misty Morning, and PV19 out. And is that it? Is that what you're talking about, or is that something else? But anyway, she will take like the three, or like the separate pigments and then the mix, and she will use that to sort of change the ratio a bit so that she can use the separating color for a full painting and make it kind of monochromatic. But it's not really monochromatic because there's this dance of pigment that makes something really interesting. My sister made me breakfast on my birthday. It was the best thing I ate. Aww. A sandwich with halloumi, greens, tomato, and a dressing made from... Oh, that sounds lovely. That's so nice. Look up the pigment recipes by Schminke Holbein and try it by yourself. Yeah, that's a thing too. You can look at separating colors that you like and try to see if you have the same pigments, and then you try and reproduce the mix. Or you can also just go really improv, and you grab the paints that you have that are granulating and you mix them together. You mix them with non-granulating paints, with staining paints and all of that, and you can sort of explore this at your own speed. And you can do like swatches with a lot of water, swatches with less water in there, and see what happens. Is there such a thing as a non-granulating color separating? Well, I mean, there are things that will do that, but they're usually not light fast. You can find it in some fountain pen inks, and also, what's the name of this media that you sort of sprinkle little dye crystals, and you sprinkle them over a wet area, or you sprinkle them and then you spray them, and they will like create this effect that's kind of plenty of colors, but not necessarily all mixed together. Does that make sense? I'm trying. Probably cheaper to try mixing myself too. Yeah, that too. Salt will create really fun effect, but I don't think it will affect the color. Yeah, brusho, that's it. That's it. Brusho, that's what I was thinking of. But I would be convinced that brusho is not light fast. Oh, it was a struggle, Anna. It was such a struggle. I think InDesign and Illustrator are for two different things that prioritize different feature. Sure, you can do the same work in both in a way, but some things will be more efficiently done in one. Can you do like full book layout and all that in Illustrator? I just don't know. Yeah, not light fast, yeah. I trust your skills. That's one of us. This is the hardest part of using little tiny pencils. They get really, really difficult to sharpen after a bit. I don't think it's particularly Transylvanian. I have a reference here. I don't know what's the name of the castle. I'm just trying to, you know, figure stuff out. The art slump is still present, so I'm trying to work through that. Brusho always looks so fun to use. I know they're not light fast, but they just seem so cool. I agree. I feel like with some of these things that are more perhaps meant to be used more abstractly or more spontaneously, I think it would be a fun exercise to like do a bunch of them on sheets of paper and then to scan them and to use them to like to do sort of digital art in a way. For some reason, I am imagining Shrek, Kitty, and Donkey. Oh my gosh, Shrek, Kitty, that's something. Instagram I have by another name. Get in touch. Okay, sure. It is an older little book with great watercolor kitty illustration. Oh! Oh, that sounds really cool. I love sort of old books, kids' books and all that with all the illustrations in them. Hey! Miss Hissifit, hello, hello! I got caught up in aquarium maintenance, but I'm happy. Well, it's nice of you to stop by. We're happy to see you. Bitten and Lewis are still getting along great. Yay! Oh, that's good news. Finally. Oh, thank you so much. It is such a load off my back for the last week. The fact that I haven't had to jump a 70-centimeter fence to go to the bathroom alone. Sounds like you were training for the Olympics. Oh my gosh. This sketch is looking great. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I think it's sort of getting somewhere at least. Dante slipped in the hallway today and I was afraid to go there alone. Oh no! Oh no! So he always asks me to guide him because... Oh! Yeah, I have a reference. Yeah, Jesus. Of course I do. Oh my gosh. That castle is so realistic for a medieval romantic one and I love it. Yeah, I need to check my reference to see if it has a bit more info about what's the castle. Oh, poor Dante. I don't know what made him slip, but we might get a runner, so he's... Yeah, that's a good idea. So does the name Bitten. Yeah, fair point. This makes me realize that I don't know how people who manage to press lightly on their pencil, I don't know how they do that. I don't think I could to save my life. Like I always end up being like and like working with this super blunt pencil. Oh, poor Dante. It's not an easy task to walk on smooth floors when you don't really have any kind of grip. Like claws are very slippery, and then the paw pads, they're not very grippy either. Not on something super smooth. I have a friend who has an elderly Italian greyhound who had stopped playing inside, and she was wondering why she hadn't considered age-related art. Oh no! Aww. The blunt pencils are great for shading. They're great for everything. I love me a good blunt pencil. Can you do a book layout in Illustrator? You can. It's going to be harder, but it's doable. InDesign is more streamlined for this thing. Okay. When I was, I did a full graphic design course, but that was long ago. And what we would use for layout, book layout, and all that was Quark Express, if I remember right. True, and this floor here, laminate, is smoother than in last fat, which was also laminate but with some texture. Yeah. Oh no! I put a runner for my 17-year-old dog with one eye and cataract in it. Oh, poor baby! It is much better now. She took him for a vet check and started looking for runners for inside right away. She's a good dog mom. Sometimes obvious things completely slip by. I mean, yeah, and it's not like your pet is gonna be like, human parent, I seem to have an issue with my joints. They kind of hurt when I try to walk around. So maybe we could do something about that. They just stop doing something or start doing something else, and you have to figure it out yourself. quality of the art prints in the old children book I will send you is perfect. The illustrator was real master. Use watercolor living. Do you remember the name of the illustrator? Janis Kravinsky. That sounds familiar. Alright, well, I think I need to let this sit for a bit. So that I can come back with a fresh eyes. And then see if I want to burn it or proceed with it. You know that feeling. Well, it is time for me to call it good for today, I guess. It is just a bit after 4 p.m. for me. And I would like to thank you all so much, guys, for hanging out with me as I struggle to figure out this thing. I can see it sort of in the camera, and we'll see. We'll see. I really need to take a break. all the how do you say that? We have a French expression for it, but I don't know if there's one in English. But so many of the Eastern countries' illustrators were so unbelievably skilled. Ah, that sounds really cool, Galgos. Thank you so much. I'm eager to say that. But yeah, Jiri Trinke, and I have all the older, like for when I was a kid, all the big books of fairy tales or bedtime stories and all of that. They were really often illustrated by artists from the Eastern countries. And I've always been mesmerized by them. So good. It's just so good. If you're on a Discord, please share the artists' names in there. I will put them. I will put down the ones I've taken notes and perhaps others that I know of as well. I did a few features on my Patreon where I made like posts about illustrators. I'll check if I can link that up. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for being here. Like the stream if you had a great time. I really appreciate your company. It was really nice to be able to work this out and have you guys along for the ride. We'll see how it turns out, right? Anyway, I hope you have a great weekend and hopefully nice weather. And yep, see you all in the next one. I will have to check if I'm gonna stream next weekend. But if that's not something that's possible, it will be the weekend after. So I'll try to notify about that. But anyway, again, thank you so much. Have a great weekend and see you all in the next one. Bye bye.